Hello friends, welcome to our channel SmartView. Hope you all are doing well as usual. If you are new to our channel, then please feel free to share and like our videos and subscribe our channel to never miss a future update from our side. Press red color subscribe button and never forget to click bell icon near to it so that you can receive all updated notification from our side. Now let's discuss neuroendocrine tumor, also known as NET, as a part 1. Now first let's see what are the things we will discuss in part 1 and part 2 of neuroendocrine tumor. Things which will be discussed in the part 1 as are introduction, classification, sites, cause, risk factors, sign and symptoms. While things we will discuss in the part 2 are as of following: diagnosis, stages and grades, treatment. Now let's see some introduction part of neuroendocrine tumor. A neuroendocrine tumor begins in the specialized cells of body's neuroendocrine system. These cells have traits of both hormone producing endocrine cells and nerve cells. They are found throughout the body's organs and help control many of the body's functions. Hormones are chemical substances that are carried through the bloodstream to have specific effect on the activity of other organs or cells in the body. Most neuroendocrine tumors take years to develop and grow slowly. However, some neuroendocrine tumors can be fast growing. Although there are many kinds of neuroendocrine tumors, they are treated as a group of tissue because the cells of these neoplasms share common features, such as looking similar, having special secretory granules, and often producing biogenic amines and polypeptide hormones. Some neuroendocrine tumors produce excess hormones, which are called as a functional neuroendocrine tumors. Others don't release hormones or don't release enough to cause symptoms, which is called as a non-functional neuroendocrine tumors. Now let's discuss classification of neuroendocrine tumors. Neuroendocrine tumors may be classified or described in many different ways, including the where they are located, what the tumor cells looks like under a microscope, and how fast growing cells and dividing the cells. In addition, neuroendocrine tumors are described as a functional or a non-functional neuroendocrine tumors. Functional neuroendocrine tumors makes and release hormones and other substances that cause the symptoms, and carcinoid syndrome is sign of a functional neuroendocrine tumors in which the substance called serotonin is released that can cause diarrhea and facial flushing. Non-functional neuroendocrine tumors either do not release substances or do not release enough substances to cause the symptoms. About 60% of neuroendocrine tumors are non-functional because of a lack of symptoms. Neuroendocrine tumors are usually diagnosed at a more advanced stage. The World Health Organization, that is the WHO classification scheme, places neuroendocrine tumors into three main categories, which emphasize the tumor grade rather than the anatomical origin. Well-differentiated neuroendocrine tumors, that is further subdivided into the tumors with benign and those with the uncertain behaviors. Second is a well-differentiated low-grade neuroendocrine tumors, neuroendocrine carcinoma with low-grade malignant behavior. Third is a poorly differentiated or high-grade tumors. These are the neuroendocrine tumors which are the large cell neuroendocrine and small cell carcinomas. Additionally, the WHO schemes recognizes mixed tumors with both neuroendocrine and epithelial carcinoma feature, such as a goblet cell carcinoma, a rare gastrointestinal tract tumor. Placing placing a given tumor into the one of these category depends on a well-differentiated histological features. That is size, lymphovascular invasions, mitotic counts, Ki67 labeling index, invasion of adjacent organs, presence of metastasis, and whether they produce hormones or not. Now let's discuss the various sites where we can find neuroendocrine tumors. They most commonly occur in the intestine, but they are also found in the pancreas, lungs, and the rest of the body. Neuroendocrine tumors can also begin in the other organs. In about 15% of cases, a primary site cannot be found. Sometimes neuroendocrine tumors may develop in or on the adrenal glands. These rare types of neuroendocrine tumors are called pheochromocytoma and paraganglioma. There are two main types of neuroendocrine tumors within the gastroenteropancreatic neuroendocrine tumors, which is also known as in short form GAPNET category. Those which arise from the gastrointestinal GI system and those that arise from the pancreas. In usage, the term carcinoid has often been applied to the both, although sometimes it is restrictedly applied to the neuroendocrine tumors of GI origin, or alternately to those of tumors which secrete functional hormones or a polypeptide associated with the clinical symptoms as discussed before. Gastrointestinal tract, that is GI tract tumors. Neuroendocrine tumors develop the most commonly in the GI tract, specifically in the small intestine, which is account for 19%, appendix, which is account for 4%, and large intestine, which is account for 20%. The GI tract plays a central role in the digesting foods and liquid, and it's processing the waste. Lungs. The lungs is the second most common location of neuroendocrine tumors. About the 30% of neuroendocrine tumors occurs in the bronchial system, which carries air to the lungs. Pancreas. Approximately 7% of neuroendocrine tumors can develop in the pancreas, a pear-shaped gland located in the abdomen between the stomach and the spine. Pancreas neuroendocrine tumors used to be called island cell tumors. Now let's discuss the various signs and symptoms of neuroendocrine tumors. Neuroendocrine tumors don't always cause signs and symptoms at first. The symptoms you might experience depends on the location of your tumor and whether it produces excess hormones. In general, neuroendocrine tumors signs and symptoms might include pain from a growing tumor, a growing lump you can feel under the skin, feeling unusually tired, losing weight without trying. Now let's discuss the signs and symptoms of neuroendocrine tumors that produce excess hormone, which is also called as the functional tumors. Skin and facial flushing, which usually without sweating, skin rash, then diarrhea, then frequent urinations, increased thirst, dizziness, shakiness, confusion, anxiety, hyperglycemia, which is a sign of high level of glucose in blood. Glucose is a sugar that is converted into energy by the body. Hyperglycemia causes frequent urination, increased thirst, and increased hunger. Hypoglycemia, which is a low level of glucose in blood, it causes fatigue, nervousness, and shakiness, dizziness or lightheadedness, sweating, seizures, and fainting. Gastric ulcer disease. Some people also experience nutritional deficiency before a diagnosis, such as niacin and protein deficiency. Other developments develop these symptoms later. Symptoms related to the tumor's size and or location. Persistent pain in the specific area. Thickening or a lump in any part of body. Nausea or vomiting. A cough or hoarseness that does not go away. Changes in the bowel or bladder habit. Jaundice, which is the yellowing of skin and whites of eyes. Unusual bleeding or discharge. Carcinoid syndrome. Carcinoid syndrome is a classic example of a sign of a functional neuroendocrine tumors. It occurs most commonly in the people with small intestines and lung neuroendocrine tumors that have spread to the another parts of the body called the metastasis. In carcinoid syndrome, serotonin is produced by the tumors and can cause uh, one or more of the following symptoms or signs. Serotonin is the most easily and rarely measured in the urine when it gets converted into the 5-hydroxy indolent acetic acid, that is a 5-HIAA, and it is measured with 24-hour urine collection test. It is important to note that these symptoms alone are not enough to diagnose carcinoid syndrome. Blood or urine test to measure for suspected hormones are also needed to make a diagnosis. Not all people with the neuroendocrine tumors develop carcinoid syndrome. Now let's discuss signs and symptoms of carcinoid syndrome. Facial flushing, which is a redness and warm feeling over the face, diarrhea, shortness of breath, wheezing or asthma-like symptoms, unexplained weight gain, weakness, fast heartbeat, heart murmur, high blood pressure and significant fluctuations in blood pressure, carcinoid heart disease, which is a scarring of a heart valves caused by serotonin, stress, Strenuous exercise and drinking alcohol may cause these symptoms worse. Some foods may also trigger the symptoms of carcinoid syndrome, including food high in amines such as aged cheese, yeast extracts, tofu, sauerkraut, and smoked fish and meats. Serotonin, such as walnuts, pecans, plantains, banana, and tomato. Now let's discuss carcinoid crisis. Carcinoid crisis is a term used when the people experience a severe sudden symptoms of carcinoid syndrome, usually in times of extreme stress, such as a surgery. Carcinoid crisis primarily includes serious fluctuations in blood pressure and heart rate. Carcinoid crisis is the most serious and life-threatening complication of carcinoid syndrome. It is generally recommended that patients receive intravenous octreotide, which is also called as a sandostatin, medications that helps control the production of hormones before planned surgery. Octreotide is used to treat carcinoid crisis. For this, the exact cause of neuroendocrine tumors isn't known. This cancer begins in neuroendocrine cells that have traits similar to that of nerve cells and hormone-producing cells. Neuroendocrine cells are found throughout your body. Neuroendocrine tumors begins when the neuroendocrine cells develop changes, which is also called mutations in their DNA. The DNA inside a cell contains instructions that tells the cells what to do. The changes tell the neuroendocrine cells to multiply rapidly and form a tumor. Some neuroendocrine tumors grow very slowly. Others are aggressive cancers that invade and destroy normal body tissue or spread, which is also called metastasis, to other parts of the body. Factors of neuroendocrine tumor cells. These factors are inherited syndromes. The risk of a neuroendocrine tumors is higher in the people who inherit genetic syndromes that increase the risk of a cancer. Example includes multiple endocrine neoplasia type 1 MEN1, multiple endocrine neoplasia type 2 MEN2, one Hippel-Lindau syndrome or disease, tuberous sclerosis, neurofibromatosis, Carney's complex. Now, other risk factors includes race or ethnicity. In general, neuroendocrine tumors are more common in the white people than black people. However, the location of where the neuroendocrine tumor begins varies considerably by the race. Gender. Neuroendocrine tumor is slightly more common in the women than in men, but the reasons why it is not known. Age. A person of any age can develop a neuroendocrine tumor. However, children rarely develop neuroendocrine tumors. Other medical conditions. Certain diseases can put people at a great risk of developing specific types of neuroendocrine tumors. For example, people with the disease that damage the stomachs and reduce the acid production have a greater risk of developing neuroendocrine tumors of stomach. Environmental and diet factors. There are no known connection between environment and what a person eats and the risk of developing neuroendocrine tumors. Remaining points and things are discussed in the part 2 of this lecture. Please see part 2 of this lecture on our channel. The following things are discussed in the part 2 of this lecture: diagnosis of neuroendocrine tumors, stages and grades of neuroendocrine tumors, and treatment of neuroendocrine tumor. So don't forget to see part 2 of this lecture on our channel.
I hope this video was helpful, and it was. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button and share these videos with at least one of your friends to help them as well. If you have not only subscribed to the channel, considering the subscribing to get notified when we will upload the next video. Do leave comments below. I love hearing from you. I will see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Have a nice day ahead. Friends, stay tuned. Next parts of this video are coming on channel.
Thanks for the discussion. Have a nice day ahead. Goodbye. Bye bye.